Bahamian officials have launched a criminal investigation into a suspected human smuggling operation.
More than a dozen Haitian migrants are dead after the boat they were on capsized off the Bahamas, and officials believe they were heading to Miami. CBS 4's Austin Carter is at the alert desk with more. Austin.
Yeah, Maribel and Nicole, really tragic details we're learning here this morning from the alert desk. We now know, according to the Bahamian Prime Minister, that 17 people have been recovered. One of them is an infant here. Now take a look at these pictures from the scene. According to the Prime Minister, the boat capsized early yesterday morning. It was in rough seas around 7 miles off New Providence. Now the boat had about 60 people on board, and according to the Prime Minister, it was heading here to South Florida. Now you may
Based on information received to date, it is presumed that additional persons are missing. Search and recovery continue as we speak.
Now, you may remember it was just last Thursday when we brought you this as breaking news. Nearly 200 migrants stopped at sea. This was just off Biscayne Bay. Authorities believe they came from Haiti. According to the Coast Guard, everyone was transferred to Coast Guard cutters. The Coast Guard says it began to repatriate the migrants back to their home. Now, at least one man and 2 women and a child here were taken to a hospital for medical care.
Smugglers are taking to the water like never before. Customs and Border Protection officials stopped dozens from entering our shorelines just last week off the Southern California coast.
Laura Acevedo from our San Diego affiliate has more on the continued concerns about dangers in the water.
More than 50 people were found off the San Diego coast in almost as many hours last week by both CBP Air and Marine Operation agents and the Coast Guard. Incidents the agency says are becoming more and more common.
Kind of become the norm, unfortunately, for these people.
Customs and Border Protection officials say the incidents happened over the course of 3 days. The first incident on July 8th when the Coast Guard stopped this recreational boat 9 miles offshore near Point Loma. 31 people found on board, all Mexican nationals and 1 Ecuadorian. The second incident just 2 days later when CBP Air and Marine agents found this boat, 2 U.S. citizens accused of attempting to smuggle 3 Mexican citizens.
They're just trying to blend in with fishing traffic. They had fishing rods on the boat. They were on a fishing boat.
The third incident the very next day when agents found 18 people on board this boat, including an 11-year-old child with his mom, all suspected human smuggling cases, and agents say the smugglers don't care.
It's freezing cold. They're wet. Oftentimes they're dehydrated. They don't have enough food. They're malnourished. They're hypothermic.
According to CBP numbers, maritime smuggling is on the rise year to year. In fiscal year 2020, 309 smuggling events. In 2021, 389. And this year so far, already 370. Warning anyone thinking of trusting these people to think again.
These smuggling organizations are marketing it to these people in a way that makes them think that it's quick, it's easy, it's guaranteed, when it's couldn't be further from any of those things.
Ohio Republican Mike Turner, ranking Republican on the Intel Committee. Sir, good morning to you, and thanks for doing our program.
Good morning,
today.
Bill.
What did you see? What did you find?
Well, Bill, just last week, the Director of Homeland Security declared that the border was secure. So 3 of us from the Intelligence Committee went down to the border. We met with the FBI, DEA, Texas Public Security Department. And we can tell you not only is the border not secure, that in fact the director is just absolutely lying, but it remains a significant national threat to our country. We saw evidence and spoke to the officers there about the unbelievable amount of criminal activity, drugs being smuggled, humans being smuggled, the people who are crossing the border. Many who are coming across the border are not even from the Western Hemisphere, people flying into Mexico and then making it to our border and across the border. This represents an absolute national security threat.
Yeah, they're flying into Monterey, right? And hopping a ride that takes a couple hours, and then they make their move. I mean, it's been going on for so long. Do you believe if Republicans take the House or Senate or both in November, that this changes? Or do you believe as long as Joe Biden is president in the White House that this will continue?
Well, it certainly will make it very difficult. Another thing that we learned is that, not only did the Border Patrol agents say that the border wall works, but that when the administration stopped the wall, there are huge gaps from where the wall was being constructed, and even former areas where there was fencing that was being repaired, they stopped those repairs. Now, Congress can certainly assert itself on funding for the wall and on funding to protect the border, give the Border Patrol agents what they need, which is increased technology and increased funding. But absolutely, this is a policy that ends up at the White House. And the fact that the president is failing to secure the border while at the same time declaring to the American public that the border is secure is something that we're going to be fighting against.
So you're saying, though, that there is no end to this?
I think, clearly we need a change in the White House, ultimately, to affect all of the policies that are necessary. We certainly saw that under the Trump administration, the beginning of the construction of the wall, the Remain in Mexico policy, the pressure on Mexico to address these issues of the long caravans that are headed toward the United States. But certainly, Congress can have an impact. The Republicans, if we take back the House, have the ability, both in funding and support for Border Patrol agents. These guys are doing an incredible job, both the FBI, DEA, and FBI. We need to fund them, give them the technology and tools, and they'll catch even more, and they'll secure our border even more.
Okay, all right, we'll see in time if you're right.
Candidate, former Arizona National Guard head General Mick McGuire. General, good to see you. This is just more evidence of the harm that this wide open border is having on, or doing to really all Americans.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning, Dagan. We've had huge issues here at the border. This has become an unmitigated human disaster down there. People flooding across the border, human trafficking, drugs, fentanyl, methamphetamine coming across at record levels, and it's absolute poison. Over 100,000 Americans have died. My future colleague, I'm running for the U.S. Senate here in Arizona against Mark Kelly, but Andy Biggs has introduced articles of impeachment for dereliction of duty against Alejandro Mayorkas, and it's absolutely founded. He has isolated those agents and given them no support.
Where does it go? Will this not stop until somebody else is in the White House who happens to not be a Democrat?
Well, the one thing we can do, Dagan, in the Senate is with 51 votes, you can reconcile the budget, get $6 billion back down here, get the 1,030 guardsmen that were under my command on midnight January 20th when Joe Biden zeroed out the funding in 2021, reactivate the helicopters that Obama parked in 2014, and build and complete the wall and get all the surveillance systems up and running. There's a real appetite on even the tribal nations right now. The level of lawlessness is like nothing we've ever seen before.
Let's bring in the Attorney General of the state of Arizona, Mark Boinovich, who joins us now. So you and other Republican attorneys general have blocked 7, as I understand it, 7 of President Biden's migration orders. But the border's still open. They're still pouring through. Is the legal route really working?
Stuart, thank you for having me on. And yeah, we are using the tools in our toolboxes because no one else is doing anything. And one of the things that we need to make perfectly clear is, look, I'm a first-generation American, and as the Attorney General of Arizona, there are a lot of things I'd like to be doing and not having to sue Joe Biden all the time over his failed policies. But the reality is, for example, when he tried to rescind Title 42, I'm very proud of the fact that our office and we went in and argued and stopped them from doing that, because it's just one tool in the toolbox to stop the lawlessness and the chaos that's going on our southern border. So have we been successful in every case? No, but we've been successful in many cases, and we are doing more than anyone else in this country to stop Joe Biden from turning over control of our border to the cartels.
The Democrats, certainly on the left, they want the president to declare a national climate emergency. I would suggest that we could do a national border emergency. I mean, why not? But they're not going to do it, but why not?
Look, when the cartels and the gangs seize control of our southern border, Americans are paying the cost, not only in treasure, not only are hard-earned taxpayer dollars being wasted, but we're paying the price in something you can never measure, and that's in human lives. And the reality is that there is a man-made disaster occurring right now. There is a massive tidal wave coming to the United States, but it has nothing to do with climate change. It has everything to do with the man-made disaster that Joe Biden created on our southern border. And the reality is that the greatest threat right now to our long-term security is our open borders. It's not only the people coming across, Stuart. We're talking about gangs. We're talking about people on the terror watch list. We're talking about a massive and record amount of fentanyl, where 2 milligrams can kill a person. I mean, just last month, or just this last year, enough fentanyl was seized. This is just what we know about that could possibly kill the entire United States of America.
We've just reported that it's 200,000 a month now coming across the border. 200,000 a month for 4 straight months, 800,000 plus people. Is there any sign at all that that flow will start to be smaller, less of a flow in the future? No? I mean, you've got these extraordinary temperatures, no decline in the numbers?
No, because Joe Biden has decriminalized and incentivized people breaking the law. And this crisis, this catastrophe will not stop until Joe Biden and Kamala Harris love middle America more than they love central America. And it breaks my heart to say that, but I've never seen this in my lifetime, where a president seems to care more about the far left of his party and, eradicating international borders than he does about American taxpayers. And we are paying the cost. When you say 200,000 people a month, let's put it in context. That's like the entire population of Orlando, Florida, every single month. And then on top of it, you have hundreds of thousands of gotaways, just 800,000 since Joe Biden's become president.
Extraordinary stuff. Mark Boinovich, thank you very much for being here and pointing it out. We always appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.